All right, welcome back. We are at our committee of the whole meeting, our regular meeting the second Tuesday. And today we have one item on the agenda, and that is a presentation by Chris Yanisu from Amterra Environmental, so our refuse and recycle collection company. So we want to welcome Chris for joining us. You're okay if we call you Chris?
Absolutely.
Great. Want to welcome you here today. And I'm going to turn it over to the CAO for council, just to let our residents know everybody on council's had an opportunity to submit questions so that you could be prepared and come and speak with us today. So we're very grateful that you're joining us. I'm going to turn it over to our CAO.
Hi, Council. This is just a reminder. This is a presentation tonight to Council from our waste provider. Questions have been forwarded to him ahead of time, so there won't be any questions at the end of the presentation. We've given Chris about 25 minutes to do his presentation here, and so we are trying to proceed with a respectful presentation, and this is the process.
Right, the floor is yours, Chris.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Chris Yanisu, I'm with Amterra Environmental. I've been with Amterra for about 15 years. I've actually been involved with the collection in the municipality since the pre-cart days with your previous waste collector that I was actually out on the truck at one point collecting stuff. Amterra implemented the cart program and the RM in 2013 with the recycling, and then proceeded to implement the cart program in 2015 for the garbage collection. Since that time, we've used a series of different trucks, rear load, side load, split body, just whatever it took to get the job done. Amterra itself was formed in 1976 and actually was started in Winnipeg by our CEO. She started seeing a surplus of materials that she felt that were going to waste, of cardboard and newspaper, and started bundling those, and actually was the sole employee in the early days of the driver, collector, processor, and eventually moved to BC to be closer to the shipping end of things. And since that time, we've grown across Canada to 40 locations and 2 actually in Flint, Michigan. We currently have about 1,000 or 1,200 employees amongst all our locations, and continue to grow. The current service that's at the municipality was created, or the scheduling itself was created in an attempt to be most efficient with the projected growth in the next several years of the, particularly around the Main Street and perimeter area. With that came, we have a dedicated ASL truck, and which an ASL truck is an automated side loader. That is a dedicated truck for the municipality and a dedicated driver. The mentality behind that being that it's the same driver en route every day, every week, pending holidays and whatnot. So they become familiar with little idiosyncrasies at certain addresses, whether they be the cart is put in a certain place, or the resident, there's a resident in the tow shack area that requires their carts to be placed directly in the middle of the driveway to ensure that they're not into the ditch because they're unable to get them out of the ditch. So things like that can be kept on top of with the driver being consistent. Currently, there's the no bag limit for the garbage and recycling in the municipality, which is actually a very rare thing for cart-based collection. It's definitely on the different side of things, and the truck driver proceeds through the map, collects whatever's in the cart, and then we'll get out of the truck and reload the cart and then dump the cart again, whether it be recycling or garbage. There's been a lot of questions with regards to the yard waste program specifically, the biggest one being the plastic bags. And the thing with the yard waste program is that yard waste is a lot different now than it was, say, 10, 15 years ago, in the sense that it's been unanimously decided or discovered that putting yard waste into plastic bags is not necessarily beneficial, as the bag still takes 180 years to break down, and thus get to the yard waste after that point. So while the yard waste itself is collected and it's generally taken to a landfill, there's the turn left and the turn right kind of thing that happens at the landfill, where your traditional garbage, residential waste, will be taken to, say, the left side, and then the right side is where all the yard waste goes. And for it enable to break down properly, it needs to be in the paper bag containers or the cardboard boxes, so it breaks down more better. This material is taken to a third party where there's been some questions if residents can buy the composted material, and unfortunately we cannot set that up at this time. The third party has said that it's something they will consider in the future, but right now it's not something that is able to be done. So with regards to the collection, and I know there's been a lot of talk and concerns about the actual what's left on the curbside. What's happening right now is that the collection crews are on Mondays for the yard waste going to every address that's in the municipality and the service area. Because they're a seasoned crew, like my senior driver and loader right now are the ones doing it. They're very familiar with what a yard waste bag will look like, whether it be garbage or yard waste in it. If we find plastic bags on map, the first time we see them, they're tagged with a tag that says that plastic bags are not accepted in the yard waste program. And then they're left there for the resident to deal with. We will not pick them up in the garbage collection, because that just defeats the purpose of a yard waste program and goes against the bylaw, I believe, as well. The other thing that's getting bags left behind is dirt, gravel, and sod, especially when I think in the Riverdale area, they have a lot of evergreen trees, and people are raking up the pine needles, except they're getting a lot of dirt with it. And that puts the bags over the weight limit that the guys can lift into the truck. So that is material that we are unable to accept. There seems to be there seems to be a consensus that we're leaving the plastic bags behind because it's easier for us, or that the crews are lazy, and this isn't the fact of the matter is, for us to do what we're doing right now takes more time. Ideally, a crew would just go through and rip off the map, throwing everything directly into the truck, but they're being diligent in ensuring that the yard waste is actually yard waste and throwing it into the truck that way. There was a question about the reusable Amazon bags. That is definitely a acceptable manner to put the yard waste in. The biggest concern with those is that they're light in weight and they can fly away really easily. Other than that, we do not have a problem with them. We will put them back where we receive them. But again, it's not going to take much for a bag to fly away. And we can't prevent that in any sense. The couple things I want to point out that we've noticed as in general is particularly in the multifamily areas is the placement of carts. I've had driver or crews go out, particularly on Thursdays in the new condo and townhouses, where the carts are placed too close together or placed too close to material or cars or what have you. And we've flyered those and tagged those, and still is, as of last week, still an issue. So we are getting out and moving stuff, but there are still some growing pains we're finding. And then with the garbage, the main thing that we found is that in the past it's been acceptable to kind of put your garbage can and build a mound around it of garbage in the extra bags, which we can't get at the cart with the automated system with it surrounded. So that's another thing we've had to tag a lot on, is that people got to ensure that their extra material is away from their carts, and then that it's easier, or it will be picked up in that sense for sure. And the last note that I had, that the extra recycling, specifically paper boxes or cardboard boxes, sorry, with those, especially the pizza box is the biggest culprit of, and this is where the calls of my cart wasn't completely emptied come from. If a pizza box is left full, it can fall into the cart somewhat like that. And then when the truck tips, it acts as a door to block everything coming out of the bin. So it's best if the residents can break down their boxes and ensure that it's free flowing within the carts. I believe I touched on all the questions that I saw. Yeah, I believe that's all I have.
Okay, Chris, thank you for sharing with us today. You can leave now, and then we're going to have Lainey Shaw do a little presentation to council too.
Thank you. Have a good night.
And Lainey, you're up now.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor and Mr. CAO. I wanted to speak to council today just about how we rolled out the schedule change, what we've done and what we have planned for further education for residents. The first thing that we did for residents was we prepared a flyer that was delivered by Canada Post to each resident. In addition to that, we had a feature in our newsletter. We redesigned our website, garbage, yard waste, and recycling page, as well as those sub pages related there. We had staff put posters on each mailbox location for those that don't do social media and maybe don't check their flyers. If they for some reason missed that, we had it right at the post office site. Additionally, we did several blasts, email blasts, Facebook, Twitter, and website in the dozens. We did 8 email blasts in March and April. In addition, because of the very warm spring, we added a special yard waste collection in April. As well, we had the Leaf Depot temporarily open in April to help residents. We worked with Mterra for tagging carts that were not placed correctly and plastic bags that had yard waste. And this was also a feature in many of our our email blast was helpful hints, if you will, or some education, how to place carts, what to include in your carts, how extra bags should be placed, and what yard waste collection was appropriate for containers, that sort of thing. So anything that we sort of felt was that we had heard about, that we'd covered, but we wanted to emphasize points, we would do special posts about those subjects. In addition, we had information on carts in the rural areas where there were some wind issues. We have had staff out doing cleanup where there was some carts that had spilt. The municipality tidied that up. In the future, we're going to continue a social media platform of posting regular information with these same messages on cart placement, yard waste schedule, and appropriate containers. We will be planning some information in the newsletter. And again, we'll be hoping to put something at the post office sites so that residents who aren't on social media or on our email blast will have access to that. So those are our just summary of how we've gotten information out to residents and what we plan to continue getting the message out. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Shaw, for your presentation. And if council has additional questions they wanted to submit to Ms. Shaw, they can email in additional questions for follow-up. I want to thank Ms. Shaw for organizing for Mterra to come in and to answer our questions. It was great to provide them ahead of time so that he could respond. And I want to thank you, Ms. Shaw, for all the work that you've done organizing the switch in this solid waste program. We've never had as much communication before. You continue to work with residents who phone in and businesses to make sure that issues are addressed, and you continue to work hand in hand with Mterra on this. So I do want to thank you. All change takes a bit of time in terms of transition and to work out the glitches. And I want to commend you for all of the time and work that you've put into this on top of everything else that we have going in the RM. So thank you. And that is our committee of the whole meeting for this afternoon. Thank you, council, and we'll see you on Thursday.